Hey everyone, Larry Walsh here at Channelnomics, and this is the Network Effect. This is Channelnomics' podcast where we talk with our friends in the industry that help support the channels and channel leaderships and channel programs and talk about the things that everybody does to help make the channel better. And one of the things the channel does really well is come together. In fact, events are the part of the fabric of this part of the industry. Uh, there are so many channel events out there. There are vendor events, there's community events, association events, there's partner events, and then there's customer events where the partners are there. There's not a day in the week where you can't find yourself at a channel event. But one event that has real staying power is Channel Focus. Our friends at Baptie and Company have been producing this event for 27 years. And it's not just Channel Focus. Channel Focus is the marquee event. It's the big tent where everybody in the channel can come together, but they also have other events in their portfolio. The Channel Executive Council, the ClubNext for the next generation of channel leaders, and the upcoming PartnerTechX event in next year, which is going to bring together people to talk about the automation and software that runs the channel. I mean, these are gathering points, and there's no other event in the business that's like it. So we thought for the re-inauguration of the Network Effect that we would bring Rod Baptie, the CEO of Baptie and Company and the leader of the channel focus community and profile of events, to come and talk about what it takes to put on these great events, what they're about, and why bringing people together is so important. Rod Baptie, welcome to the Network Effect.
Delighted to be here, Larry.
So, Rod, you and I have known each other. I don't even want to count how long you and I know each other, but you've actually been in the business a lot longer than most of us. I mean, we actually wrote a profile of you at one point called the Agenda Setter, where we talked about how ever since 1998, you have been the person who has been bringing channel professionals together. Let's start by talking about the importance of these events because there's a lot of events out in the market, vendor events, communal events, professional events, but there are very few that actually have the staying power and the caliber of those that are offered by Baptie and Company in the Channel Focus portfolio. Tell us a bit about why these events are so important.
The events are important because people need to be able to share with others. We all tend to exist in our own little bubble, and we need to burst that bubble and basically say, hang on, it is much wider than my group in X company. There's an awful lot of things going on out there, and we need to understand what those things are, how we deal with them, and how we respond. And so by bringing people together in an environment which is very nurturing, very special. One of the key things about the events is the Chatham House rule, which means that if someone says something, you can absolutely take that away, but you can never say person X said this, or even a key executive from company Y said that. And what that does is it creates a very special environment where people really are genuinely willing to share. And our experience is actually the more senior the people in the industry, the more there is a genuine desire to give back. They want to pass on the knowledge, they want to pass on the expertise, but they also want to share with one another what's going on because nobody has the answer. It's only when we come together that we really begin to explore what's happening in a wider way across the industry.
Rod, let's talk a bit about the flagship of your portfolio, which is Channel Focus. And I think the first Channel Focus I went to was probably 2005. And I remember walking around, and I was still rather new in the business at the time, and I'm walking around going, this is a venerable who's who of the channel. But over the years, the one thing that I've always enjoyed about Channel Focus is it's not just seeing the top leaders come together. It's also seeing everybody else. There's a number of people that comes through the different strata of channel organizations that show up at Channel Focus. Talk to us about the appeal of the Channel Focus. How does it draw in such a diverse community? And where does that start?
It starts by basically understanding the key issues that the attendees want to learn about. One of the biggest issues for a lot of events is they have what's called a call for papers. And so what happens is you get all sorts of papers presented, and so person X speaks on topic Y, which they've delivered, and they deliver it fabulously well because they've delivered it at 15 other places previously. We start with the attendees and with the issues, and we do a huge amount of research in terms of understanding precisely what the issues are and what needs to be addressed at Channel Focus each year. We then go out, and it's not, send us a paper. It's finding the speakers that can really address and really answer questions on those issues, and then putting in the detail. So spending time with all the speakers. If you looked at my diary in the 6 weeks leading up to Channel Focus, it is just speaker call after speaker call after speaker call, because the speakers want to do a fabulous job. We understand from all the research we've done exactly what needs to be addressed in the topic, and we will spend endless amounts of time, as you know, Larry, because you've been one of our speakers, with all the speakers, making sure we've got exactly what the audience is looking for. Then it's a very simple case of going out to the audience, understanding who the audience is, and talking to them about the values and the different things that we're bringing to the event. And also, very importantly, each year, one of the things I tell my people is we are our own competition. You come to Channel Focus this year and you've never been before. You're going to go, wow, the speakers were amazing. Nobody did a sales pitch. There was significant value in the workshops. The openness was extraordinary, blah, blah, blah. 10 out of 10. You come next year, you already expect all of those things. So if that's all we deliver, you go, it's still great, but it's exactly what I expected. 9 out of 10. I want those 10 out of 10s continually coming through. And the only way we can do that is by really looking at what we're doing, treating ourselves as our own competition, and moving the event forward year on year. So there are a number of new aspects that we introduce at the event each year, not as gimmicks, but as real listening to the audience, understanding what else we can do. One of the things we've been asked for is, for example, on topics like AI, so much of it is headline puff. We now have the quickfire sessions. So we have 4 terrific people, each of whom has got 15 minutes. And in those 15 minutes, they are going to share each of them, 3 practical things they are doing with AI in their channel program. Sounds really simple. You try and find another event that says, here are 12 things that people are actually doing today. They can demonstrate that they're doing it. They can show how they're doing it, and they can show the start of the results. And it's by constantly moving things forward, constantly challenging ourselves, that we continue to deliver the audience that we're looking for.
I will say for those watching and listening in that if you do public speaking, I do a lot of presentations every year, and I've been doing it for years. But if you're looking for somebody who can give you honest and candid feedback to make your presentations better, reach out to Rod Baptie, because he's right. He's, the many times that I've presented at Channel Focus has always been preceded by a review and coaching call, and has always resulted in making it better. Rod, I do want to think about going forward, because Channel Focus this year is in November in Dana Point, California. And we will link to it in the show notes. But what's the big theme for this year? You mentioned AI, and we've been talking about AI for a while. But more curiously, not just what's the theme this year, but elaborate a little bit about how the themes change and also how some things stay the same for the continuity of the new generations flowing through.
It's quite extraordinary. I mean, you prompted a couple of years ago a real look back at the very first channel focus agenda. And it was a wonderful view of what's changed and what's remained the same. New channels emerge. You know, nobody, when we first started 27 years ago, would have thought about hyperscalers. Nobody would have thought about AI. Nobody would have thought about those issues. Somehow, channel conflict still remains a major topic of conversation. How we pay our partners remains a major topic of conversation. What we want from our partners remains a major topic of conversation. And yes, 27 years ago, we were still trying to decide whether distribution was or wasn't a valuable asset in terms of our overall channel program. So it is fascinating. There are threads that remain constant over the years, and then you leverage in new topics, new issues, and some of those remain. Some of those will be very important for 3 or 4 years and then disappear after that period of time. And it's quite interesting to see the flow.
But Channel Focus isn't the only event in your portfolio. And I don't want to leave people with the impression that the Channel Focus and Baptie and Company is an events company. I do think of you as a community, but you do have other gathering points, and one that has become very popular that Channelnomics and I have been personally involved in for a number of years is a Channel Executive Council. Talk a little bit about that, because it really is a unique group.
It is. We were approached about 5 years ago by some of the most senior channel leaders in the industry. And basically they said, we love what you do with Channel Focus, but we want an environment where smartest people at the very, very top of the industry can come together in a very safe environment and discuss the future of the channels in the industry. So the Channel Executive Council is now universally recognized. It's not just me saying it, it is the number one group of channel leaders in our industry in the world. And they're starting to become more open. There's research that's going to be shared from that community. They are basically running a track at Channel Focus this year. So you will see a number of the members of the Channel Executive Council speaking in their own track on topics that they've chosen because they see them as the most important issues in the industry. But again, we are about bringing people together and creating an environment where people can really share and really talk about what's going on. And I think there are two key elements to that. You know, we have no vested interest. We are not a consultancy company. Companies like Channelnomics do an absolutely fabulous job of that. That's not our role. We're not an analyst. And we would see things very differently from an analyst. An analyst would tend to say, this is the way it's going to go. We will sit there and say, here are 3 people with very different views on that particular issue. And they are all valid. And they might be valid because of size of organization or other things. And we will allow them all to speak. And we assume that our audience, our community is smart enough, and they are, to say, for me, I want 40% of person 1, 20% of person 2, and 40% of person 3. Someone else might say, I want 80% of person 2 and 10% of each of the others, because it isn't necessarily just one answer. And it's allowing people to share and talk and come together in a community that enables that kind of discussion and openness that allows people to really understand there are options.
I remember the first Channel Executive Council meeting when it was first called Club 50, when we did it in Napa. That was an amazing start to what has become a ongoing series of conversations with some real channel leaders. I also attended your, what was still called at the time Club 50, but it was the Channel Executive Council now for Europe in The Hague last year. And God, I will never forget that. That was such an amazing gathering of European leaders and left indelible memories on me. And if you don't know about these events, you really need to check them out. But there's another level to this as well, which is the ClubNext. So what's ClubNext and how does that differ from CEC?
ClubNext came from CEC when everyone sat round the table, and no disrespect, Larry, but everyone round the table looked like you and I, and they needed to look an awful lot younger.
That's a fair statement.
So how do we bring those younger people in? And the industry is actually really poor at developing talent for new jobs. We're very, very good at teaching someone to do the job they're in today. We're actually very poor at teaching them the skills and the capabilities they need to move forward into the next major role. So ClubNext is a very small group of people. It's about 25 people, chosen typically by the channel executive council members as their next channel leader. And the goal of ClubNext is to expose them to all sorts of things that they will be exposed to as a channel leader, using the experience of the channel executive councils in terms of their, oh my God, now I have to do this, now I'm a channel leader, and trying to make sure that this group don't have as many oh my God moments when they move into that leadership role, and they really are equipped to take it on and run with it. And it's been it's a fabulous group of people. It's a fabulous event, and people really learn from it. It's just a super group.
Yeah, I do admire the not just that you produce ClubNext, but it was actually community sourced. That I remember it being in that conversation that they wanted to have some medium by which the people the next level were going to come up. And I've actually watched a few of those people already graduate out of ClubNext and move on into higher positions. The collegial nature of all this is really, I think, what makes it special. It's not just the knowledge exchange in it or the experience exchange. It really is that you really do feel like there's somebody else there that you can communicate with. But you're launching into another realm which is different from you. I mean, it's, like I said, Channel Focus and CEC and ClubNext, these are great communications platforms. Now you're launching, PartnerTechX, which is for the, to talk about the technology that drives the channel, the automation tools, the analytics tools. Talk a little bit about that, because that event is still next year, but it's still coming up fast.
It is, and it's been, as you can imagine, I've launched many things in my career. It's been the single most successful launch I've ever been part of. And it comes because there's a need. There are over 400 companies that have some degree or other of technology that they are providing to help enable a channel program. What happens today? I'm looking for a particular type of technology to do something. And so what do? Well, I call a bunch of friends, I call people I know, I call Larry Walsh and I say, Larry, what do you know about this stuff? And I get a reasonable answer, but I'm still sitting there thinking, is there something out there that I've completely missed that's going to be better than anything else that I've got at the moment? I'm also sitting there thinking, in these conversations, people are talking about the technology I've got, and it's doing a much better job for them than it is for me. What's going on? So what we're doing is we're pulling all of the technology companies together in one place at one time, with all the consultancy companies that help make it work, because the other major issue you have with a new technology when you bring it on board is it will do, nobody lies, it will do exactly what the vendor says it will do. However, you're not prepared in a number of cases for the fact that it's going to take a while to get it on board. You're going to have to dedicate a number of people to it. You're going to have to pull together 4 siloed databases in your organization to produce the numbers that you're looking for. And you're going to have to change your partner program in a dozen different ways. And so the purpose of PartnerTechX is to not just give people access to the technology, but also access to the people who can help them make it work, and access to people who've already done it. So there will be a whole slew of best practice learning sessions with people being completely open about, this is what we did, this is what went wrong, these are the mistakes we made, this is what we wish we'd have done, so that everyone can walk away from PartnerTechX not only knowing the technology, but knowing the steps that they need to take in order to actually make it work.
When you first shared with me your plans for PartnerTechX, I was a little, to be honest with you, a little surprised, because it's like, okay, do we need another event for something like this? But the more I thought about it, is that there isn't really a lot of public resources to address the questions and the issues that you're talking about. What makes you, at least in planning for the development and the launch of PartnerTechX, what did you discover in terms of what those barriers to information are?
Basically, that there's nowhere to go to look at the options that are out there. And what people want is everything in one place, but what they also want is a deeper dive. We looked at it initially and it was going to be an exhibition. And it was like, so you spend 5 minutes talking to a bunch of people. That really doesn't tell you a lot. So we built in the demo rooms. So you like what you see of a particular technology, they will have demo rooms, and they'll be able to have a period of time where they can really go in depth into their technology. And you can see multiple technologies at depth over the 2 days of the event. You can meet with people talking about, I built a partner portal. I, brought a partner portal into my organization. This is what it took. Here's the mistakes we made. Here's what we should have done. And here are the lessons we've learned. I brought in through partner marketing technology. Here's the mistakes we made. Here's what happened. Here's what I wish we'd done, so that you'll be able to walk out with the technologies, the knowledge, and also meet all of the cool people who can actually help you make it work. And there is no event like this. It's extraordinarily piecemeal at the moment.
I want to end on this one note, a little self-serving, but I think it's worth noting, is that not only do you have the usual assortment of great content and activities going on at Channel Focus this year, but Channel Focus and Channelnomics are teaming up. We are coming to Channel Focus with our 3rd annual Channel Leadership Awards. We will be bestowing, again, for the 3rd time, a Lifetime Achievement Award, as well as introducing a number of other awards. The nominations are now open. So, Rod, thanks to you for partnering with us on this endeavor. But I think it's been a natural addition to the Channel Focus community since we started doing it in 2022.
I couldn't agree more, Larry. And like everything else we try and do, it's honest. It's genuine nominations, genuine votes, people not because they've done, well, I'll back off from that, but it's people who are there, and they're there because the industry, their colleagues, other people within the channel recognize what they've done, and are voting for it and are nominating them. And I think that's what makes it very special. It's why the people that have been honored with the awards, it truly is, I think, the most prestigious award for channel leaders in the world. And it's because of that honesty. It's because it comes from the people, it comes from the community.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are interested in learning about the awards, our website is now up. It's the nomination process and forms are on it. You can check out the link in the show notes. Rod, it's always great talking with you and hearing what you have to say, but in this particular instance, it's great to hear how you do it as well. And I encourage everyone that if you haven't signed up for Channel Focus yet or haven't checked out any of the other events produced by the Channel Focus community, please do. The Channel Executive Council, ClubNext, and the upcoming PartnerTechX. These are fabulous gatherings that everybody should be looking at. So, Rod, thanks again for joining us.
My pleasure, Larry. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Network Effect. I hope you keep coming back. Again, we have links in the show notes for all of the Baptie events, Channel Focus, Channel Executive Council, ClubNext, and PartnerTechX. Also, there's a link for the Channel Leadership Awards that Channelnomics and the Channel Focus community are producing together. So please check that out and make your nominations. And if you haven't heard or attended a Channel Focus event before, go ahead and check it out. Register for it. Come to Dana Point in November and join the rest of us for a lot of great conversations and fun. Listen, tell your friends about the network effect, share it with everyone, hit like, hit subscribe, and keep coming back to Channelnomics to check out all the other content that we produce to make the channel a better place for everyone. Until next time, I'm Larry Walsh.